Peace. It's Bronzebird. You already know. So before I begin, of course, like and subscribe. I decided to bring back my series, which was called Breakdown of the Labor Force, in which I hope to convey the message to viewers to be on the lookout about a lot of professions that will be deleted because of automation and because of the fact of the matter they're going to use robots as a replacement for human labor, which cuts down costs, cuts down the worrisome of behavioral issues, and so on and so forth. I mean, it's to be expected in the fourth industrial period and all these different things in which people may feel like they don't need to go to the office. So for essential things, the robot might be better, apps may be better, it makes life easier, so-called, right? And so the whole entire thing is I just look for those that might get into entry level work, those that might be in professions where it's pretty much easy to get into. It's not like a high paying job, or it's just one of those professions where it's just one of those type of things, certain professions where it's looked down upon, usually if it's like blue collar work as well. So I decided to bring the series back. And so I thought to myself, I said, this is something I was really thinking for a long time, especially about waiters. There's already a video that I did about janitors, which was a quick video in which they're going to use robots to clean the bathrooms. Now we have to think about when it comes to serving the food, because already you can start to see there's a shift when it comes to certain retail spots such as Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, and other places where they're starting to replace cashiers with what, may you ask? Self-paying machines, where you can go put your money inside the machine and they give you the exact change in the receipt. So you don't need a cashier to do that for you. The cashier is now used to kind of be a hybrid between those two, be a cashier and be those that's going to direct the customers to the machine. So, but now this whole entire thing about robots becoming waiters and all these different things, what do you think about that? Now, do you think it's a fair dealing that you're going to have robots that's going to be able to know exactly what your needs are and what is it that you want when you're in a restaurant franchise and all these different things? Or are you going to be paranoid that a robot is going to be controlled with a person behind the screen and they're going to be able to take your order and memorize it just like that, instead of the good old pen and pad that the waiter or waitress uses in order to make sure that your order is good? I mean, is the robot going to expect a tip? I mean, how is it going to work? So obviously, that's what this conversation is going to be about. This video is going to be talking about a particular restaurant in the UK decided to roll out their whole entire new fleet of robots to take the orders of people inside of a restaurant, in which you guys have to understand, obviously everything is in planning. This is not just by pure coincidence, this definitely was meant to happen. I just do feel like, and I know that a lot of people feel like, or they know, that Karina was the catalyst to bringing upon these new technologies and these new thoughtful inventions in order to make life for humans easier, quote unquote. When in reality, it's just about breaking down the labor force, like I said, and making it a lot difficult on the other end for people who used to have those professions. So let's check it out together, shall we? Pete.
My hand, and I will return to my station.
Honestly, how do y'all feel about that shit? I mean, it still doesn't help you the fact that the robot has a face and all these different things. I'm still apparently bothered by that, but it doesn't give you the same feeling as if you have a waiter or a waitress, in my opinion.
I mean, children love it because there's not many places you can go and get a robot bringing the food to your table.
Also reminds them of them playing with toys and all these different things, and especially nowadays because children are more prone to using electronics more than adults. as in they're going to use it on a daily. Like they can't stay away from their cell phone, they can't stay away from their tablet. There's always something going on. And then especially because they got famous games like Roblox and Minecraft and all those different things like glued into the screen.
And the robot speaks, so they get that interaction. We have displays come up on the tables that they can look at. It's just so much to look at. There's either a robot or there's some sci-fi thing. There's something out of recycled materials. The interest there was so great that we thought, well, we got something going here. Let's expand on this. It was almost a dining experience in a museum, and it's a museum of robots.
One lady said, it's going to be microchips, or people think it's going to be like microwavable food. They're quite surprised with the quality of food, but more or less surprised to see a robot bringing the food, telling them to be careful.
And I want you to put this on the back of y'all minds. I mean, number one, a lot of people attribute a lot to these rollout of robots to a lot of these like sci-fi movies that was in the 80s and 90s and all these different things. I do get that. And it's something that I would say is definitely what they call predictive programming. Of course, in the 80s and 90s, you didn't have robots at restaurants and stuff like that. It was talked about, it was mentioned. A lot of people brought up their whole entire thing of what they think the prophecy will be, but and understanding this in terms of the video, I want you to put this in the back of y'all minds, the back of y'all subconscious. You see how they was talking about microwavable food and all these different things. Now let's really think high tech, shall we? When we're talking about a restaurant that's allowing robots to be waiters and waitresses, that this is going to be the catalyst for the new world. And I'm not talking new world order, but I probably am thinking about that in terms of what I'm talking about. In which I'm thinking for the new world or the new society or the society they're trying to build upon. In which I would think that a restaurant like this is going to become the norm. And then if you watch any of my recent videos or my videos in the past where I also talked about 3D printing as terms as food, don't you think there's going to be a connection about how they're going to use the fake meats, the fake foods, and the 3D printing foods, the 3D foods to be all a combination for restaurants that's going to look like this in the future? Just something to think about.
It is affecting our bookings slightly. Some people are cancelling, and if they're not feeling very well, they're being cautious and saying, no, we're not going to come. So it is affecting bookings a little bit, but we do get weekends very busy still. We still get walk-ins. A lot of people still want to go out and enjoy themselves. This is the thing, they've been locked up for a long time. People still like to enjoy themselves, go out.
Shout outs to Quick Tape. And before I go, I also wanted to make sure that I gave you guys an article that stretches out my point a little bit more with a little bit of light research that I had found to be very remarkable from an article that was in 1915 that said something about an invention. And this is where I tell you, this is definitely predictive programming at large. This is from Gettysburg Compiler, March 27, 1915, as you can see right here on your screen, in which it says, trying out electric waiter. Invention is believed will do away with the employment of man and woman servitors. And this is what it says right here. Shout outs to Google News. Shout outs to Gettysburg again. An electrical invention, which it is claimed will do away with waiters in restaurants and hotels, is being experimented with. Each table in the restaurant is to be fitted with a frame bearing the menu and a series of electrical press buttons corresponding with each item in the menu. The customer sits down before the already laid table with a neat pile of glistening silver on one side, chooses the dishes which he prefers, and presses the corresponding buttons in turn. In the kitchen of the restaurant, the numbers of the table and the number of the course required are signaled on a screen to the chefs and their assistants. And in a few seconds, a steaming hot dish appears in a little lift at the side of the diner's table. The customer helps himself, presses a button, and the dish disappears as silently as it came, leaving at the side of the table a little aluminum ticket indicating the sum to be paid. And I mean, if you guys haven't been paying attention already, right? The fact of the matter that you might have been seeing already, like I said, I like to make this so that you guys can see a correlation. Robots bringing out food as waiters and waitresses now. They'll give them fancy little names and all these different things, Andronia or some crazy name, right? And then in the kitchen, it's 3D printing with the food. Or if you've been paying attention to a lot of these Google ads or these YouTube ads, how they have some of these robots now, these like just look like long ass arms, and they're flipping burgers in the kitchen to remove the chefs that's in the kitchen. So I mean, what is it going to be like in the future? A lot of people that go to culinary school, how are they going to feel about this? This is going to be the new order of how things is going to be arranged as a norm in many restaurants. But the waiters, the ones that make possibly a little bit over 30,000 or around the $30,000 range, how will they survive with their careers? And how is it going to be recepted by the public itself when they start seeing these robots out here serving their foods? Something to think about. Peace.